Okay, let's unpack this. We've got some source material here that pulls us into a story. Seems like it blends, high stakes digital forensics with a bit of romance.
That's right. The sources are excerpts and a summary for a book called Trace Evidence of Love.
Hmm.
And our mission, really, for this deep dive is to get under the hood, pull out the most interesting bits from this material, see what makes it tick based on what we've been given.
Exactly. So for you listening, this is all about getting the core concept, the key players, straight from the source material itself, getting those potent nuggets of knowledge.
Okay.
So right at the heart of it, we have Mike. He's set up as this really skilled mobile forensics expert.
Hmm.
The sources really emphasize his unique skill set combining computer forensics with specifically mobile expertise. There's this sense of a thrill, apparently, in like peeling back the layers on these devices.
Right. Decoding encrypted data, finding secrets even in, shattered screens.
Yeah, it's framed almost like every device is a puzzle, every line of code a clue, and the stakes, we're told they're exceptionally high.
And what's fascinating there is how this source describes this work. It's not just technical analysis. It's presented more as this hunt for truth that's hidden, maybe hidden in plain sight or encrypted away.
Hmm.
It really highlights how critical finding that digital evidence can be. The kind that can genuinely make or break a case. Really underscores the impact of this skill.
And then the summary throws in a specific case Mike's working on. This one, well, it feels different to him.
Yeah.
His gut instinct is telling him this isn't just some simple hack. It hints at something far more sinister.
Resistor. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there's this feeling that whoever is accessing the device is part of like a larger plan, and his suspicions just keep growing as he digs in.
Mm.
The material even teases a smoking gun, that final piece he needs.
Wow, that phrase, a larger plan, that really lifts the stakes, doesn't it?
Right.
Beyond just stealing some files.
Definitely.
It suggests maybe a scheme with wider implications. Multiple targets or some long-term goal playing out digitally. Makes you wonder what kind of smoking gun could tie that together.
Well, the material doesn't actually specify the nature of the plan, which, keeps things intriguing.
Sure.
But it definitely frames this particular investigation as way more complex, maybe more dangerous than his usual stuff. But like you said earlier, it's not just about the tech and the crime, is it?
No, not at all. The sources bring in Sara. She's described as the company's compassionate customer relations specialist.
Right. Portrayed as intuitive, good at reading people, someone who helps ease pain after tragedy.
And the summary is pretty explicit here. It says that as Mike and Sara work together on these tough cases, their professional relationship starts shifting into something more.
Yeah, it brings that human element right into the middle of Mike's really intense world.
Hmm.
And here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The core tension, according to the summary, is exactly that blend. You've got a romance developing right inside this high-stakes crime and forensics environment. It literally asks, can love survive in a world ruled by evidence and logic? And it also poses the question, will their feelings stand the test of the high-stakes world of digital forensics?
That phrasing from the source is really key, isn't it? It sets up this potential clash or maybe an unexpected synergy between the cold, objective world of data and the, subjective emotional reality of a relationship.
Right.
The summary wraps it up by saying the theme is about connecting, uncovering truth, and finding love amidst the darkness. So the story, as it's presented, seems to explore if that human connection, maybe Sara's intuition, can actually coexist with Mike's very evidence-driven approach, or maybe even complement it. What jumps out at you about that mix?
It's the contrast, definitely. And maybe the question of how that connection could potentially influence the investigation itself, especially if the source hints Sara's intuition might play a role alongside Mike's logic.
That's a great point.
So wrapping this up, based on the material we looked at, this deep dive shows us a narrative framework built around, well, specialized digital forensic skills, the really high stakes of uncovering digital truth in tricky cases, and that personal layer finding connection, developing a relationship right in that challenging world.
Exactly. We've seen the technical side, the hint of a pretty dangerous, larger plot brewing, and of course the introduction of this human relationship being tested by it all.
It does make you think, given the sources talk about uncovering truth through both Mike's, cold, hard evidence and maybe Sara's intuition, her knack for reading people, the summary brings up an interesting tension there, how different ways of knowing might interact. So for you listening, when you're dealing with complex situations or hidden secrets, do you find yourself leaning more towards looking for that concrete proof, or do you tend to trust those less tangible feelings, those gut instincts?